Hey guys, so I've been pondering this message for a bit. The Lord's had put it on my heart, and I have been sick and not feeling well, and so I wasn't able to do this video right away. And then I started thinking, like, oh, I'm not going to remember the things that the Lord was pointing out to me. You're not going to do the video, that sort of thing. But the Lord keeps bringing it to my mind that I'm to share this. So I'm just trusting and having faith that He's going to help me speak the things that He would like me to speak to you guys, even if it's not. I'm not remembering it in my brain right now, that His Spirit through me will just give me the words as I minister to you guys. So thanks for tuning in. Let me pray. Lord, thank you for this time. Thank you that I'm feeling better and that I'm getting better every day. Thank you that I feel well enough to do this video today, Lord. And I thank you that even when we have a rough time, Lord, that you're patient with us and you're not angry with us, Lord, and that you'll help us and give us the strength to do the things that you call us to do, Lord, even when we feel that we can't do it. Actually, that's when you do the best work, is when we know we can't do it on our own, and we need to be at your feet and ask you for that strength. So I just pray that your Spirit would speak through me, that the message would be delivered to each person who tunes into this video. Lord, I pray that you would give them eyes to see and ears to hear in the Spirit what your Spirit is speaking to them, Lord, to touch their life, and also to be able to speak truths into other people's lives around them as you give them missions throughout their days, Lord. Help us to be sensitive to your Spirit and your leading, to live a life, Lord, that is holy unto you and that directs everybody to you, Lord, and that we would be beacons of your light everywhere that we go. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, so this is a little story about, it's kind of multifaceted, but it's a little story about, so there was a 5K part where we live. It was like 5K. I think some people were doing a half marathon, and somebody was doing like something that was just a mile. So there were different runs that people could do. And we've looked in the past at possibly doing some sort of run where we lived before, and we never did it. Anyways, this time we went with a scout troop, and went to do some volunteer work, and then some of the boys ran in the race as well. So as they were running, then the parents were doing some volunteering there. And it's funny because even though we've looked in the past into running one of these races, I never thought to volunteer at one. We weren't big into running, like we didn't know anyone who was running. And it's funny because I was thinking through this as we were there at the race. Okay, so we go and help set some stuff up, and the way that the race is set up, there's different areas where the runners, they were running on like country roads, and they would run one way, go, to the end of the road, come back, go another way to the end of the road, come back, go down the other way. So I guess there were a couple different crossroads and intersecting points. And so we had tables set up there to give drinks. So we were filling up little small, and they were really little cups, just like a quick drink to help hydrate them. So we had some cups of Gatorade and some cups of water, and we just stood there. And actually it was pretty interesting because like I said, I've been sick, and it has lasted for weeks, over a month actually. I'm still getting better from it. And at that point, actually just a couple days before that, I couldn't even get out of bed. And so just the fact that the Lord gave me that strength to go and be there and be a part of this, and you'll hear more in the story. And even, partway through, I had to go sit down. I had reached my max, but the Lord gave me what I needed and helped me to do what He wanted me to do. But I still needed to listen to my limits and not push myself into getting, more ill or whatever. So that was really cool too. Even though I couldn't work at my full capacity, the Lord still had things for me to do. And I say that so that you can translate this into your life as well, and look for those areas where He's calling you to do something. Even if it's not in your full capacity, there's always something we can do to be a beacon of His light and to be His servants. So anyways, we went, and we just had some tables set up, and we had some outhouses behind us, and we would just stand there, and we would hold these little cups in our hand like this out of the way so that people could run by. Some people were moving really fast, and they didn't want to slow down because they're trying to either win the prize or beat their best time or set a goal or whatever, or reach a goal. So we were trying to, do our best at standing at the side, holding these cups of drinks for them so they could grab them as they went by without having to slow down. Some of them would slow down and they were fine, get a drink, do what they needed to do. Some people were going by, they blasted by so fast and just knocked the cups of the drink out of our hand all over the ground. And so it was kind of frustrating, I think, for both parties when that would happen, because they didn't get a drink. It probably felt like they maybe got slowed down a few seconds, which can be a huge deal in a race like that. And then to us, it was, got our sleeves and our hands wet. It felt like a waste, but it still actually seemed like it mattered to them. They came by us a couple different times that we were even out there trying to help them, whether we were successful at that or not. Anyway, so we had drinks, we had outhouses, we had paper towels and tissues, and then just our mere presence being there. Some people were leaving some belongings with them that were weighing them down, and they would come back and get them later on. So as we were doing this, at first we were quiet. It was early in the morning, but also we didn't really want to disturb the runners. And so we were just handing them the drinks and letting them grab them or whatever. Some people took one, some took two, and we're sitting there. And I was just mulling over this, and I was like, wow, this really, some people would come up and they would see us, and you would see them running, and they're kind of been running for a while, and their face is kind of like, and they would see us, and they would, it's like their posture would get taller, and just kind of their eyes would, it was almost like, when you're driving and you get in that but if someone's in there to talk to you, it helps keep you more alert. And so it was kind of that, like they were in the running thing, but when someone came, it was like they came more to life. So not even saying a word to them, but just seeing another person even who was there on their behalf, I saw how that breathed life into them and how it brought light into their eyes. So that was really interesting. And I was like, wow, that's really interesting. And then one of the ladies who was volunteering with us, she was like, good job, you're doing great. And I heard her giving these encouragements to people. And I remember thinking I don't know, I just kind of mulling it over in my head, okay, that's cool. She's giving them encouragement, but I didn't really feel the need to do that. But I tried it. I was like, someone was coming and their face looked really weary to me. And so I was offered them encouragement. And when I say encouragement, I don't mean tickling of ears and saying things that aren't true, but really a true encouragement, an encouraging word. So we would just say good job, or, you're almost there, or you're halfway there, or keep going, or something like that, to encourage them. And so I tried it and I was actually really surprised at and they're total strangers. We're total strangers. They don't know anything about us. We don't know anything about them. I guess I kind of didn't really think it was going to make that big of a difference. You know what I mean? Even just handing out the water, I never realized how helpful that was to these people who were running the race. And so I saw that, and then giving them those encouragements, and I gave an encouragement, and I saw their face was weary, and their face just lit up. And I was like, wow, that was really powerful. I hardly even did anything. And it's not even I guess I felt like maybe it wouldn't even be that meaningful coming from somebody that you don't know. I think maybe that's what I was thinking. But it really made a difference. And so all of us, we started, cheering these people on and giving different encouragements as they would come by. And it was just so neat. And I just felt the Lord just impress in my spirit that, that is what I want you to be doing. And that is what this is about, encouraging each other. And, the race there, yes. And I guess pertaining to the race, it was telling me that we might be the only glimpse of God that somebody gets. So if His Spirit is inside of us, His light is shining through us. So His hand is upon everything that we do. And so just giving that smile, just giving that word of encouragement, that is, if the Spirit of God is behind that, that is so life-giving. And it's even helpful, it can even be helpful to people, even someone who's not a believer, giving that encouragement. That's even helpful. So imagine how much more helpful it is when it's a Spirit-filled believer who is doing that, where you've got the power of God in you, you know what I mean? And you have that people are attracted to the Spirit of God. And so just imagine the power that's behind that. I'm trying to put that into words the best way that I can. So anyways, if we are that only glimpse of God that person gets, whether it's through our smile, through our words, through our encouragement, if he gives us a word for them, through, even when we were quiet, we were just handing them that, his Spirit is behind that. And people are spiritual beings, you know what I mean? And so God can plant seeds, and he does, even through things like that. So he was showing me to continue to encourage people. So even if it's in a community event like that, that is a way that we can share God's love. And I guess he was showing me that even if we don't have the chance where we're not sharing the gospel, we're not praying for people out loud. However, in that thing, you can pray for those people as they pass by you. And then once you go home, you have all those people that you can add to your prayer list as you're praying throughout your days. So they're covered in prayer and they have no idea. And if you hadn't gone to that race to be an encourager to them, you wouldn't even know they exist. So how could you possibly pray for them? Anyway, so even if you're not specifically sharing the gospel or specifically praying out loud with someone and laying your hands on them right there, you can still make a difference for God, and God can and will still sow seeds into their lives through the kindness that you've shown them and how you've treated them. So that actually gave me a great new motivator for volunteering at those community events, and knowing that even though it's not like a faith-based thing, it doesn't mean that God's not a part of it. And us, by carrying his Spirit and carrying his light and his life within us, we're bringing God into that equation. I mean, God is everywhere, but hopefully you know what I mean by that, that we're, by doing that, we're going and holding his light there for all to see. And so I was really encouraged in that. And then I was seeing, some people, they were coming and they were, some people, they had like a sweatshirt, on, or a light coat, and they wanted to take it off. Here, can I leave this here so I can pick it up on my way, and they were so grateful. They were grateful that there were porta potties that they could stop and use. Some people they were like, wow, thank you so much for coming out and volunteering. Like, they were just so grateful. You could hear it in their voice, you could see it on their face, and that breathed life into me, like, wow. So it was a cool exchange. And then also, like, this one guy, he came running. It was really cold outside. When the race started, it was 22 degrees outside. I don't know what it got up to at this point in time when this guy came, but he came running by. He had a big mustache and a big beard, and he's running, and he literally had blood dripping out of his nose, all down his face, down his beard. And I was just like, oh my gosh. And so I got to give him a paper towel. I don't know if he knew he was bleeding. I don't know if he didn't care that he was bleeding. I don't know. When you're that cold, you can't feel. Like, he could have thought he just had a runny nose, or maybe he didn't have anything to wipe it with, so he just kept running, you know what I mean? And so we gave him a paper towel. I had a little package of tissues in my pocket, so I was able to take that and just slip it in his pocket so he could, he slowed down right there for us to help him, but I just put it in his pocket. He was tending to his nose, so he had some tissues, and a complete stranger. And imagine the seeds that were sown into him, just seeing the love and the care that these people had for him and were able to give to him. So it was really neat, because the Lord was just speaking to me through that and saying, for community events, these are ways to sow seeds of love and kindness to people, especially in this harsh world where people are mean to each other, and then also just saying, just in the race of life, in the race of faith, you know what I mean? Not only are we all running in that race, but we all need to be encouraged in that race. And it's not to say that we can't run this race of life with Jesus, with us and Jesus alone. It definitely can be done, because he's our source of everything. So it's not to say that you have to have people around you encouraging you. And I say that because some people, that is the life that they will be, and that they will be in. It's just them and the Lord. And I don't ever want to say that the Lord's not enough. He is enough. And so, however, what he was showing me is that he has created us to love one another and help one another and offer that encouragement. And so all of the things that I've mentioned here, the water, the drinks, the tissue, the bathroom, the shedding of heavy things, all of those things pertain to spiritual things as well, helping each other when we're carrying something that's too heavy, just as in the girl had the sweater that was too heavy, helping each other to alleviate that burden, when we're weary and we're thirsty, speaking, having a listening ear, speaking truth in God's living water, sharing that with others. That's like giving them a drink. The guy who was running and was just bleeding all over the place. How many of us, whether we're believers or not believers in this race of life, and some of us, we know we're running towards Christ, and some of us, the people who are not running towards Christ, who don't know him, well, they're running towards something. They don't yet know that it's Christ that is what they're actually looking for. But all of us are running, and the end goal for all of us is to come into right relationship with God, whether we know it or not. That's God's will for all of us. And so how many people do we know who are running in this race of life and they're bleeding, they're bleeding spiritually. And they need a tissue. They need someone to hand them that, or they need someone to tell them, hey, you're bleeding. You know what I mean? They might not even know they're bleeding, or they're bleeding so much and they don't even care. So they need someone to help them know why it's important to not just bleed. And when I'm saying bleed, I'm talking in a spiritual sense, just having a hard time, struggling, sucked into sin, all of those things. And so it was just, the Lord was just like, bring this analogies, bring this picture, and share it with people. And even by me doing this, these YouTube videos, that is what the Lord has shown me. That's what I'm doing, is I'm just encouraging other fellow believers in sharing the things that the Lord speaks to me, the things that I experience, the pictures that he paints to me. I'm just another person in this race running, to get that prize in eternity. Jesus is my prize, to be with him, and to bring you guys a glass of water. You know what I mean? And the Lord sends people in my life to do the same thing to me. And so it was just a beautiful picture, and I just wanted to share that with you guys. And maybe you're the one bleeding, maybe you're the one who needs the encouragement of other people. So also in that, he was reminding me, different ways that we encourage people, sharing the word of God with them, sharing a song with somebody, sharing a YouTube message with somebody. You know what I mean? Like, I often will do that. I'll listen to something encouraging and the Lord will bring someone to mind, and I'll send them the link and say, hey, and share that with them. Hey, here's something, the Lord brought you to mind. I wanted to share this with you. And it's so cool, because many times they'll share something back, and that's just what the Lord's been speaking to them, or that's just what they needed to hear at that time. That's the Lord working through us. So a lot of times though, when that happens and I get that nudging to send something to someone, then my rationale, sometimes I think it's my rationale that's talking myself out of it, but other times I think it's also the enemy trying to talk me out of it, to stop that work of God. So remember, a lot of times when you are inspired to do that, so if you get that thought like, no, I don't need to, you know what I mean? Like, don't listen to that. We have heard this thing where you have 5 seconds, you know what I mean? So obey in that first 5 seconds. And if you get that voice coming that says no, not to do it, know that that's your own rationale, or it's the enemy trying to stop you. So push through and do what the Lord put in you to do, that nudging and that inkling, because most likely that's exactly what that person needs at that moment, or it's something that they're going to need later on in the week or whatever, because the Lord works through each of us to touch each other's lives. He really, he uses people in that sense to do the works that he wants us to do. Sorry, my throat is still hurting. Okay. And then, and the other thing was, about sharing with people too. The other thing is, if the Lord gives you some insight or wisdom about a person or a situation, don't be scared to share that with them. It's kind of a learning curve. Sometimes he gives us those things just for us to know so that we can be praying for that person. But other times he gives us something to share with someone. And don't be afraid to share that with that person. Even something, if it sounds silly to you, like, what? Why would God say something about a cookie? Or why would God say something about whatever, like we don't know what's going on, and God speaks to us and tells us things in ways so that we will understand him. So even though if he tells us something and we have no idea what it means, it doesn't matter. He just wants that to come out of us and speak into the life of that other person, because they will know what it means and they will understand it. So also my encouragement is, don't add anything to that. Don't try and, be like, well, here's this, and I think it means this. I mean, if the Lord tells you what it means and he tells you to speak that to them, great, do that. Because I've had that happen too, where he will give me that meaning or tell me what that means. But at other times, you're just to relay the information, and that person will work that out with the Lord. And don't scoff at those things, because the Lord really does speak to us in those ways. And a lot of us are cutting off that blessing and that cup of water or that tissue when someone speaks something to us, or even a YouTube video. Like the Lord has spoken to me so much through YouTube videos that will pop up, and somebody giving like a prophetic word or a word of knowledge through YouTube. And a lot of people will scoff at that, but don't scoff at that. The Lord he really does use electronic things. Even like with me doing this YouTube channel, he was putting it on my heart for a long time to start a YouTube channel and to just do what I'm doing and do encouragement and prayer and that sort of thing. And I was scoffing at it, thinking like, that can't be the Lord telling me to use YouTube. There's so much bad stuff on YouTube, and who would ever, be interested in listening, or whatever. And so I just was like thinking, maybe I'm not hearing from the Lord. Maybe that's just me. You know what I mean? However, I didn't want to sit there and do videos. So the more I thought about it, and I was like, I don't like to talk in front of the camera. I don't like to stand in front of a group of people and talk. And I started thinking more about it and praying more about it and realizing that was the Lord putting that in my heart and wanting me to reach out to people and share with people and do just what I'm doing. So I'm glad that I did that. And so I just want to encourage you guys, whatever the Lord is putting on your heart, sometimes it's similar things to what other people doing, and sometimes it's completely different. But obedience is huge. Obedience is key, and you'll see the pieces coming together. And even if it just touches one person's life, you know what I mean? It's not like you have to become this big famous person doing whatever it is that you're doing for the Lord. It's even if it's just for that one person, that's what's important. You know what I mean? Like on here, I remember asking the Lord, like, if not a lot of people watch my videos, should I still keep doing them? And he put it in my heart, yes, because they're made for people specifically. So even if just one person watches a video, if a video has one view, that's one life that has been touched, that the Lord has been planting and watering seeds in that person's life, and that one person is worth it. So I hope that's encouraging to you. And the other encouragement that I maybe I should do this in another video. Well, no, I'm going to just share it because it's kind of related. During that time, I think it was before the race, a couple days before the race, I was super ill. Several different things were piling up on my body and just kind of created this storm in my body, and I wasn't getting better. And we were at home and we were praying and, taking whatever medicine supplements that we had, and things seemed to be getting worse, and it had been several weeks. And, I even thought like my breathing was so bad, and we thought possibly that I had developed pneumonia, and we were like, what do we do? And it kind of started feeling scary. And I remember being at home, and so I love to worship the Lord in song and music and my guitar, and I'm doing it all the time. And I wake up singing praise songs, and I go to bed singing praise songs, and I love to worship the Lord. And just even as he's grown me up and matured me and brought me closer to him, that's like my breath, you know what I mean? Like I need to do that to get through my day. And I think all of us are made, to depend on him in that way. But that's one way that I really connect with him. And so I'm always worshiping him. And so while I was sick, like my family was reading the word to me, and we're praying and listening to worship songs and stuff. But one day I was like, Lord, what do you want me to do? Like, what do I need to learn? Is there something, am I not getting better because I need to learn something in this? Or, am I not getting better because I don't know, like, do I need to see a specific doctor? Like, what do I need to do? And I felt him tell me to get my anointing oil and go to the church and have the people lay hands on me and pray. And I hadn't gone to church that morning because I was doing vertigo and migraines, and it's a small space, and so I knew it was gonna probably give me a migraine and tip me over and possibly, make my vertigo kick in. So I hadn't gone to church that morning, but I knew there was a prayer meeting after church. So he put that on my heart, and then I was like, well, Lord, it's not really that kind of prayer meeting. They're like, and he just put on my heart that, well, it's fine. It's good. You can do that. Go grab your little thing of oil, go down there, have them put their hands on you and pray. Within 5 seconds, I had, the thought come in, well, we've been praying the whole time. My family's been laying hands on me and praying. So that's fine. We don't need to go to the church and do it. And then I recognized, wait a minute, somebody, whether it's the enemy or myself, is trying to talk me out of this. No, I'm going. I'm not going to be talked out of this. If the Lord has something for me, I'm not going to miss out. So I was going to go down there and have my husband drive me. But then I felt the Lord say, take your whole family. Take your whole family and have them pray over you guys, all of you guys. I'm like, okay. So, had our son get his stuff, and we all went down there and brought my little thing and just walked in and shared a little bit of what was going on, because on top of our sickness, we also had some other things going on that was making life difficult and a little bit scary for us. And so, the whole group, they just came over and they put their hands on me and on us, and they prayed for my healing. They prayed over me. Then they prayed over our family situation, and just being there, that was the Lord reminding me that these people that were around us, that were gathering around us and offering up that encouragement and that prayer and that support, they were giving us drinks of water and Gatorade and things that we needed as we were running our race. And so it was really neat that, that was for us to feel that encouragement. And we left there feeling stronger. And part of that was, the Lord being prayed over, and the Lord working his power and doing his thing in us. And part of that was feeling that community, and that people cared, and that people were lifting us up, and that we weren't alone. And so we left there when we felt so encouraged and empowered, that to keep going on, and just gave us just like in the race, it gives you strength for that next leg of the race, you know what I mean? Until you get to that next place where you get encouragement, however that comes in. And so that was really cool. And actually, along those lines, I was reading this book today. I was thinking this through with the Lord. And also because knowing also, one other part of going to the church and being prayed over, that was also obedience. Even though we can do that very same thing at home, for some reason, the Lord wanted me to be obedient to what he was telling me to do, even if I didn't know all of the inner workings of it. And so that's really important when you feel the Lord telling you to do something, whether it's, go get prayed over at the church, or give somebody a word, or send someone a text and share a YouTube video with them, or share a song on YouTube with them, or whatever it is. Speak those things out and be obedient to the Lord, because not only does that person need whatever is in that situation, but there's something in there for you too that the Lord is wanting to do in you. And I'm not going to talk too much about that, because that could take place in a lot of different forms. Anyways, I wanted to read this. It's this book. It's called The Circle Maker. Praying Circles Around Your Biggest Dreams and Greatest Fears by Mark Batterson. But this little chunk right here, I was thinking through, because the Lord was telling me today to do this video, and I was like, Lord, I kind of forgot some of the things you wanted me to share. And so it was neat, because he showed me in here one thing about having us go to the church and have people put their hands on us and pray over us. And this little chunk in this book, it says, there is something powerful about being in proximity to the person, place, or thing you are praying for. Sometimes physical contact creates a spiritual conduit. Proximity creates intimacy. Proximity proclaims authority. And so that was really cool because that's so true. And I've totally experienced that and continue to. So I just want to encourage you guys in that there is something powerful about putting your hands on people and praying or allowing them to do so for you. And also, having your family do that on a regular basis, but also people outside the family. The Lord works in that way. And then let's see, the other thing that I was, the other scripture, yeah, it's 1 Corinthians 10:24, and it says, actually, I'm going to read 1 Corinthians 10:22 a little further up. It says, when I am with those who are oppressed, I share their oppression so that I might bring them to Christ. Yes, I try to find common ground with everyone so that I might bring them to Christ. I do all this to spread the good news, and in doing so, I enjoy its blessings. Remember that in a race, everyone runs, but only one person gets the prize. You also must run in such a way that you will win. All athletes practice strict self-control. They do it to win a prize that will fade away, but we do it for an eternal prize. So I run straight to the goal with purpose in every step. I am not like a boxer who misses his punches. I discipline my body like an athlete, training it to do what it should. Otherwise, I fear that after preaching to others, I myself might be disqualified. So, giving you guys encouragement to be encouragers, encourage in all the ways that the Lord shows you to, even if it's a way that you think might be insignificant. It's not. If the Lord is calling you to it, it's not insignificant, and it has eternal matters are at stake. So you guys be blessed and have a great week, and I'll be praying for you, and please be praying for me and my family as well. Bye.